Hey, everybody. Demetri Panos here for the 31st episode of Trending in Hollywood. And some news about Trending in Hollywood that I can share with you is that because of you, we've gone we've had over 31,000 views because of you fine folks. So I just want to come out and say thank you. We'll start the show positive and just say, hey, everybody. It is Demetri Panos here. Sans, my good friend, colleague, Scott Menzel. Scott is on a mission from God. He will maybe be back next week. If you pay attention to such news, and by we, I mean the Hollywood Critics Association, was supposed to have had its inaugural television award show, which was to have taken place this Sunday. But due to COVID and this Delta virus, which is really kicking Los Angeles County hard, the HCA decided to play it safe rather than sorry, even though we were taking every bit of precaution, holding an event outdoors. We were actually going to do testing, but knowing that there was talent involved, knowing that there was the group, there was the actual Hollywood Critics Association and attendees and their guests, it was more prudent to take it from an in-person event and make it virtual, very much like we did for our movie award show. Doing this also pushes the show back a week. So instead of this Sunday, it'll be the following Sunday. So Scott has been dealing with a lot of that reorganizing. So that is his mission from God right now. So that leaves me by myself. For those of you who are joining in, thank you. Why don't we get right into it? Again, it was one of those weeks where things started off kind of slow, but each day something came up. So I got lots to talk about. First, I'm gonna talk about, and forgive me, I'm gonna do something that's usually reserved for Scott, and that is I'm gonna swear. So earmuffs if you're easily offended. That being, file this under the no shit department because it made news that Anthony Mackie is set to return for Captain America 4. Okay. I get for publicity reasons, you might have to do this for your client, which would be Anthony Mackie, Disney, Marvel, but anybody who watched The Falcon and the Winter Snowman, yeah, I know it's Winter Soldier. It's a joke. It's a play on words for a movie that was called The Falcon and the Snowman. Good movie, by the ways. If you watch that series and you watched it to its conclusion, well, of course he's going to come back for Captain America 4. It was kind of obvious, I thought, but some reason this needed to be news. It was picked up in all the trades, all of the fan sites, and yada, yada, yada. Anthony Mackie is going to be he's going to continue within the MCU because I also believe he's going to continue in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier for season 2. So, not big news, but I just had to put it out there because no duh. All right, so next up, I'm gonna talk about a movie that Scott and I loved. I loved it. My favorite movie of the summer, Free Guy. So Free Guy, hopefully you had the opportunity to go out and see it last week in theaters because it really is probably the summer's most entertaining, fun, movie with heart and great action. So it beat expectations last week as far as box office went. It did a total of domestic box office of $28 million plus. A lot of people didn't even have it making 20. So this is good. It's good for Free Guy. Ryan Reynolds and the director, Sean Levy, they already pretty much announced that there would be a sequel. Disney had said that they would be on board for doing something like that, which is all great. However, I want to put this aside for a bit and just say $28 million for a movie that cost about 100 plus million, uh, or 100, 150. It's not a great opening weekend gross. Now, what is first, let me talk about the positives of this all. Okay, the positives are this is a non-franchise picture, at least until now. They announced a sequel, but this was an original picture. Okay, Ryan Reynolds in it. He has some cachet, which is great. Had great cameos, but I think it should be noted the audiences really enjoyed this movie. So this is all really good. Whatever marketing that Fox Studio, Disney had done, it seemed to have worked. It got people off their couch and into the cinema. And that's a positive thing considering everything that's going on, right? Okay. But the cons of it are, and this has been mentioned on the show before, 1 week hits, 1 week grosses, opening weekend solid grosses, can't sustain the industry. So we have to watch weeks 2, 3, and 4. I think that it's going to have a half decent holding power going into a second week. It really doesn't have a whole hell of a lot of competition. There's the Protege, which was pretty much embargoed until yesterday, late yesterday. Not a good sign for a movie. There's another movie called The Night House, a Fox Searchlight movie that I was privy to see a week ago. I'm going to talk about it at the end of the show. I'll give you my mini review. So basically, there isn't much competition for the movie. The only thing it really has to compete with, sadly and unfortunately, is COVID Delta variant. So hopefully there was some really great word of mouth, and hopefully the drop can sustain, and hopefully it will be somewhere. Anything I think that's under 60%, low 60s, like 55 to 62, I think would be a decent drop. Personally, if I were the studio, if I were Disney, they're probably hoping for something under 60%. That would be really good. But anything mid 60s up to 70, not so good. But we will have to wait and see. And I'm hoping all the goodwill and the good word of mouth, the announcement of a sequel, I hope that resonated with people who haven't seen the movie yet. And I hope that the word of mouth from the people who have seen it reached out to friends, family, countrymen to go see Free Guy. I urge you, if you haven't already, go see Free Guy. Okay. You'll have a lot of fun. So next up on the agenda right now, this just came across the wire, as they say. It's breaking news, and that is No Time to Die, released, pushed back again, but in Australia. Okay, I'm not sure if you're aware, but Sydney, Australia, is back in lockdown mode until September. So they're in lockdown mode because of the Delta variant. It's ravaging through there. So MGM or Amazon, right now it's MGM, have decided to just pull it back and postpone it in Australia only. Now, why is this news? Well, we have to see what happens everywhere else in the world, particularly domestically in the States. So we're gonna have to hold on tight. No Time to Die, if you recall, was the very first movie that was pulled from release back in 2020, and it was from there that a lot of other studios followed right after No Time to Die pulled out. So we're going to have to see what happens here in the States. Hopefully, fingers crossed, as a huge James Bond fan myself, I've been really waiting for this movie. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have 100% confidence that it'll stay. And it's November date right now. only because things here in Los Angeles County aren't exactly the best. And hopefully we can tamp things down. So there are things to pay attention to because No Time to Die was not the only movie this week to have a major shift and change. Okay. So we'll keep you apprised of No Time to Die. Again, that news just came out but a half an hour before I was going live on air. But another movie was pulled from release altogether. And that movie was Hotel Transylvania 4. Sony decided to pull it, and they're in the midst of making a deal with Amazon to have it stream on Amazon Prime. Very interesting for a couple of reasons. First reason is a big one. It's 100 million big ones because the deal is set to be around $100 million to skip theaters, go on to Amazon Prime. The other second interesting thing is Sony had to deal with Netflix. I thought so. I'm confused. It's basically what it is. However, upon doing some research on Hotel Transylvania 4, and again, I'm not sure if you're a fan or not a fan. I saw the first movie or the first two movies. They were cute. They were fine. I think they were anchored by Adam Sandler. But this movie doesn't have Adam Sandler as the lead anymore. I don't know what happened to his character. I didn't watch, admittedly, Hotel Transylvania 3, but it's without Adam Sandler. And I don't know why you would make a Hotel Transylvania movie without Adam Sandler. No disrespect to the other fine voice talents, but still, I believed he was a big anchor for the series. So maybe that's why it didn't go to Netflix. In any case, it's a lot of money for it to go streaming on Amazon Prime. So you can look for it to happen there. And again, why did this happen? Uncertainty at the box office. Family films have been hit or miss, whether it be Space Jam, Cruella, Jungle Cruise did fairly well. But these animated movies, and again, it doesn't have Adam Sandler as the anchor. It probably was a good idea for Sony to do this. And there is a lot of uncertainty. And I got to reiterate one more time, folks. Um, COVID obviously isn't over. And if you pay attention to the trends, if you pay attention to what's going on in Hollywood, right? And just all around, it was a really big week for music cancellations, for tour cancellations. Garth Brooks canceled the remainder of his tour. Stevie Nicks has already pulled out of the remainder of her tour for 2021. We also had Nine Inch Nails just canceled their 2021 dates, and K-pop boy band BTS. This tour was sure to make money hand over fist. That they just announced within the last 24 hours that they too are canceling 2021 dates. These you need to pay attention to. But what do they know that we don't know, right? So studios are taking this same kind of caution. What's happening? We should have some more news for you about all of this next week. Why CinemaCon is still happening. I don't understand why, to be quite honest with you, but it is still happening. So I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of news coming out of there to report on and to talk about next week. So we'll follow that for you. And again, we're going to, Scott and I, we're going to continue to follow these trends in Hollywood because they affect you, the moviegoer, the movie fan, just as much as it affects Scott and myself. So stay tuned for more news on to see if any other movies get either pushed back, held up, postponed completely. And in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if we start hearing a movie or two going from 2021 into 2022. Let's keep fingers crossed, folks. And look, I'm just going to say this. No politics involved here, but, if you haven't already, get vaccinated. Okay, it'll keep you. Would you rather get stuck? I mean, what's more comfortable, a needle or a ventilator? Think about it. Get vaccinated so that we can get back to going back to the movies with a regularity that we love, quite frankly. So I was just getting comfortable to go back to the movies, and now there's a shift happening. So we need to take care. You need to take care because we can't afford to lose any more viewers. All right. So next up, something else that happened that was really fascinating, and it involved Disney again. So Disney is already going through the Black Widow lawsuit, but apparently, this is from the Hollywood Reporter, Disney's profits from Deadpool, Guardians of the Galaxy are at risk in an upcoming trial. Again, this comes from Eric Gardner from Hollywood Reporter Business News. This has been a long-running lawsuit, and a judge rejects Disney's argument that its legal adversary can't establish a link between the use of a special effects software and why consumers are buying movie tickets. So, for allegedly using a stolen technology to market realistic CG characters, Disney faces the prospect of losing a portion of its profits from Deadpool, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Beauty and the Beast. The case has complicated genesis, but it's being brought by Reardon, a Silicon Valley company asserting ownership over a visual effects technology called MOVA. That's MOVA. So this MOVA captures the facial performance of an actor wearing makeup and processes the data into computer-generated imagery. Look, if you are still a physical acquirer of materials, aka Blu-ray, and you have either Deadpool, Guardians of the Galaxy, or the live-action Beauty and the Beast, the special features feature this MOVA in almost every scene. I mean, it is out there. It's one of the great things about special features is that you get to see in depth. You get to see the in-depth making of a special effects movie and how the magic is done, right? And MOVA was all over each one of them, seeing this motion capture and how that it worked, whether it be for Groot or the Beast, right? And Deadpool characters. So they are contending that they lost profit, that it was a stolen technology. And they MOVA is saying, hey, there's a link between the use of the special effects software and why consumers buy movie tickets. So, and again, it kind of makes sense. And if you think about it, Disney really did use this motion capture, this MOVA, they marketed it, not just on the Blu-ray, but if you were leading into the movie, you saw special little featurettes that said, hey, this is how we did this. How cool is this? It's more or less a puff piece for you to get interested and go, wow, that's amazing. I'm going to buy a ticket to go see the movie. So at least the way that this article has painted the picture, Disney, again, could be facing additional lawsuit here and loss of profits. Boo-hoo, right? So again, we will keep you apprised of that. And right now, folks, that's more or less what I have to talk to you about. I have no questions or anything from anybody, which is fine. I do miss talking to you, the audience, but we're going to keep this show short. But I will give you, I don't know what you're looking to see this weekend. If you're looking to get out and you haven't seen Free Guy, I say go see Free Guy. The other movies are The Protege, which I told you, they had reviews didn't start coming out until Thursday, so I was unable to go see The Protege. But a movie that I did see was The Night House, which is a horror movie. And The Night House is a ghost story. And it's a story that delivers on its execution, but not so much on its resolution. Okay, it basically focuses on a character. Her name is Beth. Her husband has just committed suicide. She's suffering through the pain, the loss, the tragedy of it all, and also trying to figure out what happened. Why did this happen? Um, she didn't even know that her husband had a gun and why he may have had a gun. So, what she knew of her married life begins to shatter all around her. On top of that, she starts having these nightmares, these very realistic, graphic nightmares where somebody out, where an entity is calling out to her, and it's perhaps her dead husband. So she starts to dig into her husband's life, and she starts to realize that he led a double life, and that other life was a sinister life. So the closer she gets to the truth, the more intense that the dreams become, and the movie will go on for there. Now, look, The Night House to me has all the elements of what would and should make a very good and scary ghost story. You got a secluded house on a lake, the night house, a suicide, a tormented spirit, a main character that's coping with loss, grief, depression, self destruction, even anger and confusion. So, those to me are that's an excellent base for which to build a chilling ghost story. But Night House to me does something. It takes an esoteric approach. It takes an esoteric path instead of just this more straightforward approach. And it literally, to me, it dilutes the horror and it muddles the final reel of the movie. And it just left me with a, huh, that's it. Now, look, these esoteric horror movies are the flavor of the month, horror subgenre. Um, you know, Midsommar, Hereditary, The Lodge, Mother. People either love them or hate them. I am in the latter category, to be quite honest with you. I do feel that, these esoteric movies, they do dilute the horror. And again, I am a person, I'm all for atmospheric, creepy horror movies. I don't need everything quite spelled out for me, but I don't need to be left leaving a movie going, what the hell was that? Right. So um that was my big problem with the lighthouse or the night house. I can tell you that Rebecca Hall as Beth, she's the lead character. The movie falls squarely on her shoulders, and she does an extraordinarily capable job. It's almost like a one woman show. Um, Other characters do come in and out of the movie, but it's squarely her movie. And unfortunately, her performance ends up getting lost in this, uh, just lost in this quagmire of haha. Uh, Collins and Piotrowski, who are the writers of this movie. It is directed by David Bruckner. It's written by Ben Collins and Luke Piotrowski. And again, this trio, they're no strangers to horror, and they know how to build suspense and foreboding. And Collins and Piotrowski also understand the coping mechanisms of a tragic loss, and they use it to really great effect via their character of Beth. So, yeah, I don't know. It just unfortunately they take this esoteric approach, and it ruins everything that the Night House. Its execution. It delivers some good scares, especially the first half of the film. You're riveted, edge of your seat. You jump. It's good stuff. There's a great setup and a clear path of where to go, right? And a very interesting concept. But Bruckner, Collins, and Petrovsky decide to go for, well, we're smarter than you. You figure it out. Well, yeah, I did figure it out. I ended up I give the movie where I was going to give it four fingers, which would have been very good. Um, Instead, I had to give it two fingers. That's what I figured out. Two fingers meaning it almost made me angry, and that's two out of five. Five being the best, one being the worst. And had the movie made me angry, well, that really would have been scary. So I say, I may cancel those Airbnb reservations that you have for the night house, and just book a hotel. Well, I'm going to say thanks for watching today. Thanks for tuning in. Scott says hello. I say hello. And now I say goodbye. We'll have more news for you to pay attention to next week and what you should be looking for and trending in Hollywood. Hey, and again, folks, please be safe out there. Again, asking you to be safe is not a political thing. It's truly, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Please be safe. Okay. Um, we're not out of the woods yet, but we can be. So please be safe. Have a great weekend. We will talk with you next weekend on Trending in Hollywood, Fridays, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you for tuning in. Take care.